I showed up at his house. He's fucking late, always fucking late, just like jamming everything in a fucking bag, doing rails in between, and gets in his fucking car. The goddamn gas lights on. He's fucking doing 70 miles an hour down Doheny. Fucking hits a goddamn curve. I mean, it was just like you're just fucking scared for your life, man. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck, man, the money is just not worth it. Like I'm gonna die with this fucking guy. And I like looked over, and we're in traffic, and I'm like, dude, your fucking gas lights on. He's like, oh, good point. I'm like, yeah, good fucking point. What are we gonna do? Like, and so like I'm like, dude, we might be fucking walking. And so we managed to get to a gas station without running out of gas. He fucking throws in like $20 and like I think he like backed into it. I don't know. I tell the story better in the book because I like went through a text. He like backs into the thing, like rips the whole fucking bumper off, like scratches the side of his car, then jams it in drive, and then takes off, and like the whole back of his bumper just is like left the gas station.
And you were on the way to a private jet where Paris Hilton and her family had been waiting for hours.
Yeah. He chartered a plane, or maybe the casino gave it to him when he wired the money in, and yeah, I just, after like 10 minutes of driving, I'm like, you realize that you'd fucking left your whole goddamn bumper on the fucking gas station. He's like, no, I didn't. It's like, okay. And, it was like that with him. Like, he's just so fucking crazy. And he's like doing coke while he's driving. He's like driving with his knees, like no hands on the wheel, like just a fucking total fucking basket case. You get on the plane, and I'm just like so curious as to like how he's going to function with normal people.
Yeah.
Her family doesn't need anything from fucking Sam, the rich people. Like, she doesn't need anything from him, the family. It's like, it's different when people need something from Sam.
Yeah.
And they would behave differently. But I was just like curious, like, okay, these are people that are like richer than him. Like, how are they going to deal with this fucking maniac? And they were just so fucking like cool about it. And I was like, fuck, like if I was as rich as them and I'm like sitting on a fucking plane for 3 goddamn hours on the tarmac, I'd be pissed, you know? And they were cool about it. And it was funny, man. We were like in the back of the plane. I could just see him. He was like such a fucking hand grenade. He's like, getting more and more anxiety by the minute. I could just tell like all he wants to do is fucking cocaine, but like he doesn't really want to do it in front of the family. So he's just like, what am I going to do? So finally, like after he just like can't handle it anymore, he goes in the fucking bathroom and comes out like a fucking like kid had been eating powdered donuts, like shit all over his face. Like he was the messiest coke user I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, to illustrate that point, you are now in the Wynn. You're partying after you played with him for a while. You had lost some money. You go to the Wynn. You have a 45 caliber pistol on you, right? Yep. He pulls it out of your waistband. Okay, so hold on. You're in. Okay, you tell the story.
Okay, so we had been playing at the Wynn. Like we showed up there, and like everybody's like taking pictures of Paris, and it was like kind of like one of the first times I'd like seen it, like right up close and personal, and they'd sectioned off us like a whole area to play in the poker room. And so we went over there, and they had like bottles of champagne and fucking foie gras and all this bullshit. And we're battling. He beats me, and there's like people fucking like watching. They had this whole thing. And after he beats me a couple times, then he decides he wants to take a break. If he's fucking losing, we're sitting there till fucking the sun comes up. Yeah. There's no leaving. The goddamn doors are fucking sealed. But if he starts winning, then all of a sudden now he wants to take breaks. He wants to go party, this and that. I'm like, God damn it. Fine, whatever. So we go to XS, and first thing we did was drop off like the 300 grand that I'd fucking lost to him. We locked the money in his safe, and I was just like so fucking bummed out about it. And I was like, fine, give me the fucking coke. Like I was so irritated. I was just like, I needed to get fucked up. And so we go to the club, and the first thing he does, he wants to go into like a private room so he can do more fucking blow. So we go into their like the office or whatever. And I had the gun in my back, and it was like hitting the back of the seat. So I took it out and like put it on the table, and it was like this badass like engraved like fucking ivory handle, like sick ass 45. So I was like, always kind of like looking for a reason to show the thing off. Not to mention it was irritating my back, so I just put it on the table. And he's sitting there with this fucking tin can of Coke, and he's like trying to get the goddamn thing open like it's a fucking Rubik's Cube. And, he just like can't figure this thing out. You can just see him like getting more and more irritated as the time goes on. And finally, he just like, it's like he's going to fucking bust a gasket. He just throws the fucking thing as hard as he can on the ground. It like hits the ground, bounces off the table, comes back. Like Paris fucking dodges the thing, and it like hits the fucking wall. And he just grabs the gun like he's going to shoot the fucking thing. And I'm like,
okay, so just let's reset for anybody who's not listening here. You're in the Wynn. You're in a special office in the Wynn.
No, XS.
You're at XS. And while you're there, he pulls out your 45 caliber pistol in one of the rooms, and he's willing to shoot a tin can full of cocaine in this office.
You imagine how that would have turned out?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't pull. It was on the table, so he grabbed it, and thank God the safety was on, because I think he would have shot the fucking thing. He was that frustrated, and he wasn't thinking. He was like not one of those like, you know, when you're fucked up, you're not like a really forward-thinking, like responsible guy. And he was always just like, I mean, he was gonna die, right? So he had a death sentence. This guy already didn't give a fuck.
He had a terminal illness.
Yeah,
and you didn't know at this time.
I didn't know, and also he's like, you know, super rich. He's got a death sentence. He's fucked up on coke. Like, this is just a recipe for fucking bad things happening, which is what always happened with this guy, right? And so, yeah, I managed to get the gun away from him, and I was like, man, that was like one of the moments where kind of like my life flashed in front of my eyes. Like, what a fucking disaster that would have been, because it was my fucking gun. Like, it was just, oh my God. You can only imagine what would have happened if he would have fucking got a round off, you know,
in a casino,
with a bunch of into a can of coke,
into a can of cocaine.
I mean, can you imagine?
I can't even.
Gunshot goes off, like there's coke all of the, like what do you do with it? And I have a backpack with like $700,000 in cash. Like, what happens at that point, right? Like,
if you're in law enforcement, please comment below and let us know what would have happened at that point.
Yeah, please.
That's crazy, man. The other thing, so the first time you and I met was in 2014. Justin Ross Lee brought me over to your house. We had dinner, and you told me the tiger shark story, which eventually you put in the book. Sam had bought you matching tiger sharks.
Yeah, that was unexpected. And he put him in his fucking pool. Yeah, he was a nut, man. He was a fucking absolute animal. I mean, you just never knew what was going to happen with the guy, you know? And it was just always, like such an adventure. Like every time you went over to his house, you're going to be doing high-stakes gambling. There's going to be naked girls. There's going to be fucking illegal activities. Like, you know, he's going to be fucking whacking golf balls into his fucking neighbors' houses. Like, I mean, he's just a fucking maniac. So, it was never boring, man. Absolutely never boring. And then you'd always win money. It was so you playing him would always win money. So no matter how crazy it was, you mentioned before in the book, you always ended up going back. In fact, you said you stopped playing him for a while, and then you heard he was losing all this money, and then you went back to playing with him. Yeah, I quit him because, like, you know, he was playing so bad, and also he like really didn't want to pay, and there was like all this shit. So I just kind of like, look, like, I don't want to fucking play anymore. And then he hauls off and loses like fucking $50 or $80 million and like pays it. And I'm just like, motherfucker, like if he's going to be losing this money, like at least fucking lose it to me. And so, yeah, then we started playing again, but it was just a crazy time, man. He bought like every Dior shoe from Rodeo and had it like delivered to his house. So like anytime girls would go over there, he had like all the brand new shoes, all these fucking purses. So like, he said he didn't want to fuck hookers, but like he would give every girl that came over there all this goddamn money, right? So it was like, and he would definitely get a lot of pussy, but like he wasn't technically giving them money for it. So like in his mind, it was okay.
Yeah.
He had like this very strict moral code. That was another thing about him, is like, he was a pretty good dude. Like he would, you know, aside from like paying his debts, like he was like, you know, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. Like he had rules, like you couldn't talk shit about other people in the house. Like he's like, I don't know. He just had these like very strict rules. One was that he didn't, you know, pay girls to have sex with them, this and that. And like I said, but then he also had like the whole fucking Hermes and Chanel shoe collection just like brought into his closet. And so girls would like literally come over there and it was like they're going shopping at Rodeo, but they were at Sam's house.
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy.